All right, welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today's guest. We have Adam Palmer out in Norwich, England, and really excited to have him on. Came across his Instagram page not too long ago and was just really impressed with the energy that he's putting out into the world. And you can tell that he really loves to see people thrive and living their best lives. And Adam is a writer and a transformational coach, and I'm just excited for him to share with everyone what he's excited about at the time of this recording. We're in the beginning of 2019, and so without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Adam. And Adam, if you could just share with everybody so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and all that good stuff.
Sure. So I've been a writer for a good 10 years now, which I share primarily on my Instagram account. And I'm also a transformational coach, which is something that's it's a relatively new endeavor, but I started doing that in the early part of last year, and it's happened really organically as a result of being a writer and putting my content out there. So that's where I'm at the moment, and excited to be on this show. It's wonderful to be on.
I appreciate having you. And so when you're writing, it's really interesting. So what did it have? Because on your Instagram page, there's definitely a personal growth and development and just an uplifting vibe. Was that what your writing career was, or what kind of what did your writing career look like, or what stuff you write?
Sure. I mean, it basically started about 10 years ago. I went traveling to Australia. Actually, we were talking about Melbourne a moment ago. And during that time, I kind of woke up from the illusion that is life. And one of the caveats to that is I began to write. I was sat in a bar in Tasmania and had this sudden urge to put pen to paper, and wrote something down and read it back and thought, this is good. This is good. I wrote it from the heart, and that led to me writing more. And so over the course of the last 10 years, I've spent pretty much, a lot of that time writing down any realizations that I have, anything that comes to me that resonates as the truth, I write down. I think perhaps in the early stages, if I had a realization, I think, it's good to get it down on paper, because can't always rely on this memory, so it's really useful to write things down. And then if I have a moment where I don't feel clear, I can go back to my writing, and that always gives me a sense of clarity. So that's kind of where it started. And over the years, I've kind of got better at it. And it was only in August 2017 that I thought, maybe I should share this. Maybe other people will benefit from this. And a friend of mine gave me a nudge to do it. And that's kind of the end of that story. So
Really cool.
yeah.
It was a real big, turning point, or just a lesson for me when I learned that, writing, the act of writing, really clarifies our thoughts, and why the act of journaling is so important, and for people that can take those thoughts that are going around in their head. After I meditate in the morning, a lot of times I'll have stuff, and immediately I just want to write it down, because I don't even want to risk those really good ideas, going anywhere.
That's always a great time to write after meditation. I always find that's a great time to do anything.
Absolutely. So that answers the question that I always am curious about. So you have it seems like pretty much everybody that I've brought on has some type of meditation practice. For the audience, not a coincidence.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I just prior to this conversation with you, I sat down and did a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation,
Nice.
Which is about 40 minutes long. And it's kind of an energy center meditation. So you get to focus on the different energy centers throughout your body, and create a sense of alignment and calm and groundedness. And hopefully I've brought that with me onto the show today.
I can feel it, and that's really cool that you just mentioned Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Dr. Joe.
He actually made a really big impact in my life, and it's always fun having these conversations, because different things come up that I had no idea about before talking with Adam. But there was probably a year straight where I was doing his guided morning meditation. That I got I went to a couple years ago, I went to a workshop with him, in a meditation workshop in Cancun.
Amazing.
which
Oh,
really shifted
that must
that.
have been
It
incredible.
was incredible. I mean, it really, by the end of by the end of, I think it was a week, by the end of it, like we did, I think it was like a 4 hour meditation that went by just at the snap of a finger. It was incredible.
Yeah,
And
doesn't surprise me.
yeah.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. I mean, his book Becoming Supernatural
Mhm.
is a book I'm reading at the moment. Really fascinating. Really delves into the science behind meditation and setting intentions.
Love it, love it. Yeah, and then for everybody out there, I think if you're inspired to start a meditation practice, guided meditation. It doesn't have to be Dr. Joe Dispenza, but it could be. Guided meditations have been really useful for me building that practice. Now a lot of times, Adam, I'll just play like Calm. Like I have the app Calm, and I'll play like birds chirping and like ocean breeze, and behind my head, and I'll just kind of let myself go wherever I go. But definitely
Yeah.
no right or wrong way to meditate, but it allows us to feel really really good, and that's cool that you did this right before this conversation. I did as well. So
Yeah,
it's the morning time for me, so it was already a part of my routine.
it's always good to do it in the morning. It really sets you up. But I think the important thing with meditation is to show up. That's the most important thing, And a good friend of mine who kind of got me into meditation years ago um, said something really important to me when I was having a kind of tough time and I was struggling with my meditations. And I said to him, man, I'm trying to do these meditations, but I'm sitting down and my head's going crazy. And, you know, I, I'm not doing it right. I need to, I can't calm my brain. And he said to me, and, and I said, well, I can't do it. I'm doing it wrong. And he said, there is no wrong. You're showing up and you're observing your experience. Just the fact that you're showing up, that is meditation. You're noticing what state your emotions are in, and that's the practice, becoming more conscious and more aware of what's going inside your body, no matter what that state of emotions are.
Absolutely. I love that you just said that. Yeah, my advice for anyone out there is just don't beat yourself up if you don't feel like you're a professional meditator day one, because none of us knew how to meditate until we began to meditate. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's,
that's why they call it a
yeah,
practice, right? it's
yeah.
it's something that you practice doing, and you develop a practice yourself.
Absolutely. My only goal is to get up feeling great. Like, I don't get
Yeah.
up from meditation until I feel the energy that I want to feel in. And even if it takes you, because, especially at the beginning of my practice, you'll have times where your mind's going all over the place. But it was even then I learned not to beat myself up. And if I could even, really sink into meditation for 30 seconds, during that, maybe 15, 20 minutes that I was trying to, that 30 seconds would allow me to get up feeling so good, and that was just my only intention. So I love that you
Yeah,
brought that
yeah.
up.
Advice would be just stick with whatever comes up,
Yeah,
because if you're struggling to be sat, and you step up from it, you're allowing those emotions to have power over you. But if you can sit with it, you kind of regain some of that power back. You're almost instructing your body. I'm not controlled by the emotions that come up. Actually, I have the courage to sit with this. And so you take the power back. So just if you do struggle, just stick with it. Just stick with it and keep showing up every day.
great advice. Great advice. So here at the time of this recording, Adam, it's the very beginning of 2019. What are you excited about this year? What do you have? What do you have going? For yourself, whether it be coaching or writing, or what do you have going on out there?
Oh, great question. I'm excited in general. I'm in a really good place. I'm having more and more clients sign up for coaching, and that's growing and expanding. Um, as a writer, I'm an aspiring author, so I want to have a book put together this year. Um, and I have quite a few things in the pipeline that I'm exploring at the moment, to offer my followers on Instagram. Um, there'll be a few things that come up throughout the year, so just keep checking on my Instagram page, and you'll see as and when
Yeah.
different things become available.
I highly recommend everybody listening click on the link below and follow Adam's Instagram page, and because it's really uplifting. I told him before we came on here that it only took me a few moments on his page to really feel the energy that he wanted to put out into the world. And that's what really attracts me to wanting to have these conversations is just the intention that someone has to uplift whoever, might show up, on their page or with the work that they're doing. That's very obvious to me. And so,
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. That means an awful lot.
yeah, no, it literally took me a few seconds and I was already liking stuff and shooting you a message. So, well, really cool. Well, question that I want to ask you that I've been asking everybody, and it sounded like, especially the encouragement that you got to, from, I think you said a friend to start coaching, and, you had things that you had become aware of for you that were definitely benefiting you in your life. And I think it's so cool that you decided that you wanted to start sharing those with other people, and helping other people. For me, I kind of just got to a point where I asked myself, knowing that tomorrow is not promised to any of us, and I've become aware of a lot of different things that have helped me. Have I shared, this stuff with humanity, so where someone might be able to benefit from it, after I'm gone? These days with the internet and social media, I mean, we can get it all out there. It's just a matter of,
exactly.
have we? And at that point, when I asked myself that question a few years ago, the answer was not enough. And so I started, pouring it out. And, so for you, what would you love to share? If someone's, hearing from you for the first time, or they stumble upon this podcast, 10 years from now, from what, you've become aware of in your life at this point, what would you love to share with people that you feel could positively impact their lives?
I think one of the most important things that I've learned is that if we all take responsibility for our own happiness and well-being, the world would be a better place. We have no control over the things that happen outside of us. The only thing that we can do is respond in a way that, meets who we are. And when we react to something, the first thing we want to do is is blame the external thing that made us react. But actually, sometimes people are mirrors to us, and when we react, it's because there's something inside us that's not sitting right. And it's so important to explore those things. And I think that's why I've developed certain practices, and why meditation has been part of my experience, is because I'm very aware that I'm responsible for my life, and I'm responsible for my happiness, and I'm responsible for my well-being. Nobody can do it for me. So I think that would be the biggest message at this point, is that you have full control over your experience, and it's just choosing to focus on what's great in your life, and all the potential that you have, and really zoning in on your own well-being. So I'd say that would be my message at the moment.
That's such a good message. If you spaced it all on that, rewind, listen to everything that Adam just said, because he said some things. You just inspired me a lot. I'm gonna share some things now that, piggybacking off of everything, because the only thing that any of us, like Adam said, really can control is the energy that we bring, that we present into the world. We can't control anyone else's energy, how they choose to think, how they choose to speak, how they choose to act. We can only do that for ourselves. And like Adam mentioned, you will start seeing, as far as the people that are around you, mirroring a lot of times, your state of being. And so, if I see things in the external that I may not be, that excited about that day, sometimes it's a really good, reminder for me just to ask myself, Noel, how are you being right now? What's your state of being? What energy are you in? And, because it's not like Adam said, it's not the external that is making me be frustrated or worried or anxious or angry or upset. It all starts with, the external that I'm seeing. Most likely I'm seeing it the way it is right now, because I'm angry, upset, frustrated, and worried and anxious. So, it's not about, we're all human, so we're all going to spend time, being frustrated or, being, worried. And, but the key, and Adam, you said this a few times, is really, he said he's become aware. That is the only reason that I do what I do. Well, also it's really fun, but it's just, I love helping people become aware. And Dr. Joe Dispenza uses that so much throughout meditations. Like, can you become aware? Because once you're aware of anything, now you have a choice on whether or not you want to change it. and if you want to do something different. And once I can help anyone, or anybody out there listening, once you can become aware of maybe how you're presenting yourself into the world. I learned this also from Dr. Joe. We think on average 70,000 thoughts per day. And by the time we turn 30 years old, over 90% of those thoughts have really become ingrained in us as habits. And so if your state of being, you see yourself presenting yourself in the world as typically a frustrated, worried, anxious person, doesn't mean you're a bad person, but you probably developed these habits over a long period of time, however old you are now. And it's not likely that tomorrow you're just going to snap your fingers and that be different, because you're going to think 70,000 thoughts tomorrow. And so, but we can start to be aware of that. And when you do become aware of that, you actually have a choice to do something about it. And there's so many ways that, you can do that. So really appreciate you saying all that, Adam, because
yeah, you're right. I mean, the stuff that goes on around you can quite often be the catalyst for the trigger, the catalyst for your reaction or a negative emotion arising. But if you can look at that and instead of becoming consumed by it, actually kind of asking the question, oh, that's interesting, I wonder what I can learn from that. I wonder why that's coming up. Why am I being emotionally triggered like that? What am I seeing? What's the underlying message here? Does this situation represent something maybe from my past, or what I'm feeling now? And then you can everything then becomes a learning experience. Everybody becomes a teacher, and it's every day I wake up and I just think to myself, who's going to step into my life today? What am I going to learn today? What am I going to experience today? It's all there to serve me. So to really remember that in each moment.
Love that. That makes what you just said just now, that makes life very adventurous.
It does. It is all an adventure. It's all an adventure.
If we could start living our lives that way, where it's just, because we can't predict all the things, and we wouldn't want to. If we could predict everything that was going to happen in our lives, life would become very boring. And so, the adventure of it all, and, the things that we all have as desires that we want to see manifest, the how, the what, the when, the where, the who, all that stuff, not in our control. However, we can decide what energy we want to present to the world again, and those things the journey to those things that you want to be, do, and have will be so much more fun, for one, and then also it'll unfold you won't be feeling that anxiousness, that worry, that stress. And I want to piggyback off also of one more thing that you said, Adam. When we are presented with something external that we're seeing, and if our intention is to to feel good, or to be happy, or to be joyful, or just to have an energy that we want to be in, because nobody really wants to walk around stressed or angry. I mean, it doesn't feel good in the physical body to walk around that way. And so if our intention is to be that way, again, we're all human, we're going to spend time all over the place. We all have, by the time, again, once we get a certain age, take politics, for instance, or relationships, or health, or sports, or any subject in the world, we have a way of thinking about that subject, because we've been thinking about that subject that way for a long period of time. And so when we start to notice ourselves, say it might be, politics, and we're thinking about this in a certain way, and immediately our mind gives us thoughts of maybe being critical or judgmental. Again, a good reminder for us, like, whoa, like, what do I have, going on here? And really what I want to share is we only have two choices if we want to still feel good. If our intention is to feel good, to be happy, to enjoy our lives, if we're taking this subject of politics as an example, and we notice ourselves being really critical or judgmental, if we can't find something to appreciate about politics, which you might not be able to do, there might not be anything in that moment that you can find to appreciate about what's going on or what you're seeing, and that's okay. But if you can't find anything to appreciate and you still have the intention of feeling good, my best advice is find anything else on the planet to focus on other than politics. I don't care what it is. It could be, a funny YouTube video. It could be the birds flying around. Like, look at those birds flying. How cool is that? Now your attention is off of the politics, and your energy doesn't have to suffer, because I will guarantee the longer that you focus on whatever the subject is in a critical nature or judgmental nature, and where your energy is not feeling good, your energy will feel worse and worse and worse and worse. And you could ruin a whole afternoon, a whole day, or longer, by focusing on things that are just challenging subjects. And we all have subjects in the world that are easy for us to focus on, and some that are a little bit more challenging. So if you can't find something to appreciate, my advice is, try to look for something, especially when you're in a good mood, that you can find to appreciate. Like, I'm just happy that they're trying to move our country forward. At least that's their intention. I don't know if they're doing the best job, but that's their intention. And that little one thing that you can appreciate, and even they're not doing the best job is a little critical, and that's not going to feel good if you focus on that too long. But that's the message that I want to get across, and you inspired that for me, Adam.
Perfectly said. Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
Things are gonna come up in your experience all the time, though. And it's unavoidable. You're going to be presented with politics and other things that aren't always pleasant to hear. And it's important to observe what comes up for you, but as long as you don't become consumed by that thing,
Yeah.
you don't have to live there. And like you say, the best thing you can do is when something begins to kind of wind you up, or make you feel like you're on a downward negative, emotional spiral, to kind of divert your attention, because you don't have to. We have this tendency to kind of wallow in life's difficulties, and then it spins out of control, and then we're complaining about everything. So it's important to catch ourselves in that moment when we know we're heading in that spiral, and actually kind of divert our attention to something that's going to lift us up. Because unless we're lifted up and we're in a good emotional place, we're not going to make good decisions for ourselves. And that's what it always comes down to.
Absolutely. Such good advice what Adam just shared right there. And it's really, if you can start to catch yourself early, before it gets like too out of hand where you're just feeling terrible because you've been focused on whatever this challenging thing is for hours or even days or longer. That we're mentioning him a lot, but that was something that one of the Dr. Joe meditations that I did, he was really, the intention of it was to find blind spots that maybe, we weren't aware that were affecting our energy in a way that we didn't want it to affect us, that we weren't even really aware that it was presenting itself, on a daily basis. There were parts of my life that I, discovered that, I was being critical in some areas and judgmental in some areas, and not even really realizing what it was doing to my energy. And, then I made it an intention to, to catch it early or think about that, subject differently. And it just helps. Again, this is not about being perfect. It's about just being aware, because that gives you, the power back. So I love this so much. Well, cool. Well, this has been a fun conversation. Anything that you want to add to any of this stuff? I'm going to definitely have all of his information easily accessible, because now that I've connected with your energy, Adam, and I know that your intention is what it is, I'm just excited to see what you choose to go out there and point your energy at, because us as human beings, all of us, once we know that we can go create anything that we desire, and we're not getting stuck on how's this going to happen, I need to know all the details before I even get started, then we can really pretty much go create anything that we're excited about and bring all of our unique life experience and all of our unique preferences to that creation, and it's going to be uniquely yours. And that's why I love seeing what people are inspired out there to create, because Adam might not be inspired to create what you're creating out there. I might not be inspired to create the same thing. However, we might want to experience what you're creating, and be able to enjoy whatever it is that you passionately created. So anything that you want to add to any of this stuff, Adam?
Well, I mean, one of the things I've noticed as a coach is that people all have different kind of challenges in their lives, and what it always boils down to is the mindset. It's always the psychology, and a lot of the time it's the resistances and the barriers and the fears that people have that make them struggle receiving what it is that they want. Their receptivity isn't great because there are barriers, and barriers come up because over the course of their lives they develop certain beliefs about who they are, what they're about, what they can do, what they can't do, what's realistic, what's not. And so a lot of what I coach is about removing those resistances, removing those obstacles in order to actually be able to move in the direction that they want to go, and do it from a place of truth, do it from a place where an individual's values exist, and do it because the end result is obviously happiness. So to become really aware of what it is that we want, what it is how we want to serve, what it is that's going to make us happy, and then to, as I say, remove those resistances in order to reach that point that they want to get to.
I love that. And when you were describing that, what popped into my mind was probably my favorite examples of humans that are living this way. And that's, to me, little kids who are running around,
Yeah, so true.
who are running around present. That's what, when Adam was just describing removing barriers, I was just thinking of what, a human being is left with once you do remove the resistance and the barriers. And you're left with just joy and happiness, like you said.
Fun and innocence and
Yeah.
vulnerability and like you said, you used the word adventure earlier on, and that's my key word at the moment. Everything is an adventure. It's all part of the journey, and it really is through the eyes of a child that you can live that adventure as a grown-up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love seeing little kids just playing with a stick or a rock or any old little thing.
Yeah.
They just are fascinated by anything. And, we've all been there. And as we become adults and, we start having these, limited beliefs and all of these things, barriers are formed. And that's why I think it's really great what you're doing, Adam. And anybody out there listening, definitely, if you're inspired, reach out to Adam, connect with him. And, I always tell people a really good next step on any of our journeys is the step that we're inspired to do right now. And, because it's not an accident. It's not a coincidence that you're listening to this podcast. And, the rest of the journey will be revealed when you're ready for the rest of the journey. But right now, inspirations, act off those. Like those are happening for a reason. Add Adam on Instagram if you're inspired to reach out for coaching and all these things. The energy that you're feeling from him on this podcast is going to be the energy that you'll be able to connect with. And as you guys take that journey, what I love is Adam is aware, just like all of us are aware that we're continuing to evolve, and he's continuing to evolve on his journey. And it's just fun to be able to connect with the energy of someone that is living their life like an adventure and is excited about the evolving. And you can go on that journey and flow your energy in the direction that you want to go. And that's what I love about sharing this planet with 7.6 billion of you guys out there. So I just want to meet more of you.
So true, and it doesn't matter what you do in life, whether you're a coach or you're a leader. Like the most important thing is to remember to be a student, because we get so caught up in leadership roles that we stop learning. And when we stop learning, we cap our potential. So to stay the student is so important.
Absolutely. That's really a big reason why these also have been really fun, Adam, because all you guys come on and you guys are already sharing the things that you're sharing and making an impact in the ways that you guys are making an impact. And I'm hearing some things that I know what you're doing, but you're saying it a different way or doing it a different way, or I'm like, wow, I like how you said that, or I like how you did that, and I'm learning the whole time. Like I'm just saying, wow, like that. I want to apply that in my life. I want to share this with people. So I really appreciate you, Adam, and everybody that has been on these podcasts so far. It's been so much fun, and we're just getting going. Well, thank you so much. Anything at all that you want to add on top before I close this conversation? You've said some really, really amazing stuff, and I just appreciate you for sharing your time and your energy with the audience. This has been great.
Oh my goodness. I mean, just to go back to what I was saying before, remember that we have to take responsibility for our own happiness. And if we do that, then we really can collectively make big changes. We just have to remember to bring everything back to ourselves and ask ourselves the important questions, because that's where the power lies, is actually inside of us individually.
Absolutely. That's such good advice, guys. And don't second guess yourself. When you know that you're in a really good energy, a happy, joyful energy, the only thoughts that you can think in those are going to be a match to that energy. So your thoughts are going to be happy and joyful. The words that you speak are going to be happy and joyful. You're going to be fun to be around. The actions that you take are going to be infused with this happiness, this joyfulness. And so the results that you're going to see in your life and the people and the situations that you're going to attract are all going to be a match. Like that's when when you hear the term, you're being in flow. That's when your life is really in flow, because that energy is, you're a magnet to everything that you want to be, do, and have. If you think about anything that you want to manifest out there that, whether it be in a relationship or health or financial goal or whatever it is, how would you feel if that were to manifest right now, like this second? Well, you wouldn't feel terrible. You feel good. You feel amazing. You feel happy. You feel joyful. You feel fulfilled, whatever word you want to put on it. But that's an energy. And so, the fastest way to to manifest and just to really, be an energetic match to any of those things is to start feeling that way right now as much as you can, and being aware when you're not, and not beating yourself up for it, but just, making your intention to make the choice, like Adam said, to go back to feeling happy. And so great so advice. True. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate your energy. And definitely, guys, everybody that is inspired to share this episode with the people that popped in your head. I know there's probably some people that you're like, they could use this advice and all those things. Don't think of that in the judgmental way, like you got to hear this, like you've been messing up in life. Like, but just do it out of I'm wanting to empower, this other human being. And, if they're ready to receive it, they will. I've learned that if someone's not really asking or ready to receive, doesn't really matter much what I say or do, it just is what it is. But it still feels good when you reach out to and your intention is to empower another human being, and that energy always comes back to us as well. So I love that.
So true. Well said.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you guys out there for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. This has been so much fun. I'm rooting for every single one of you out there. Continue to rate this podcast and review it and share it and make it easier for people to discover these cool episodes. We're just getting started, but this has been so much fun, and we're going to keep talking to amazing people all over the world. And definitely follow Adam and follow his journey. And I'm excited to see what you go out there and create as well. And thanks again for sharing your time with us today. And it'll be a lot of fun to see what you decide to create here in the future.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun. Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Pleasure was all ours. We really enjoyed your energy. Absolutely. Well, all right, guys. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Have an amazing, amazing day. And all of us can be, do, and have anything. And I'm excited to see what you guys all create and experience those creations with you. We'll talk to you soon.